Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Got an interesting little IndyCar video for you today. This is going to be a bit of a departure from what I've been doing in the past. This is a full race. I have not cut anything out. I want to show the full process of winning a race, hopefully, or doing well. As we see, our chances have just taken a pretty big dent as we've been knocked off pole position. Qualifying is extremely important here at Homestead in the IndyCar. But at any rate, the whole race I'm going to commentate as best I can with exactly what's going through my head. And what I want to do is, particularly for people who are used to doing road courses, I want to go over exactly what I'm thinking, all the little subtleties that are not necessarily obvious if all you're doing is watching cars just drive round and round in a circle. There is so much more to oval racing than just driving round and round in a circle. And there's so much more to this track. It looks like your basic mile-and-a-half paperclip oval, 2 identical turns, but it's not like that at all. As we'll see, turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are subtly different. In particular, about halfway through 3 and 4, there is some property of the track that just throws you to the outside. You get tight or you understeer, and suddenly, where it seemed like there was loads of grip, the track just tries to kick you into the wall. Managing that while keeping as much speed up as possible is going to be really important. And as you can see from the qualifying times, if you're used to road courses, think of a second as being like a tenth of a second. And a tenth of a second on a road course here on an oval is 100th. We're just 1/100th behind Ricciardo on pole position. That's the equivalent of being about a tenth behind on a road course. Right, time to jump into the car. First thing we've got to do is set it up. This IndyCar, this is a fixed setup series, but the IndyCar still has some in-car adjustments. I'm going to be going over how I use those tools and what they mean. Managing them is going to be important. This series, a pit stop is not mandatory, but unless we have a lot of safety cars and a lot of cautions, we're going to be unable to make it on fuel. So we've got the pit stop set up. We're in engine map 8 to conserve fuel on the outlap. I'm going to set it to the lap timing screen, so I've got the countdown in the bottom left. And looking at the field, I see some familiar names. I see some names who I think I'm going to get a tough race off, and I've got some names who I think are going to beat me. Now here's the other interesting thing about this race. At the start of this week, my iRating was 1,704. And it is currently 2,687. If I can pull off a good finish in this strength of field, I'm going to hit 2,700 iRating, and I will have improved 1,000 iRating in 1 week. It's difficult, requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of effort, but it is possible. Of course, that requires me to deliver. Muted for me, sir. Just wait for the last cars to come onto the grid.
There are 2 additional sets of tyres for this race. Be smooth and have a good run. Waiting on the final car to grid.
So, already put it into second gear to start to avoid any wheel spin. I have seen people spin coming out the pits. Pace car is underway. We'll lead the outside line, take a sharp right turn, get up the banking, inside line. Some of them, yep, they've all come up onto the track. Sometimes people will go around the access road just to give as much room as possible, and I think I can see in my mirror a couple of people are doing that. Now the pace speed is 105 kilometers an hour. You can see that just above my head is my speedo. I'm noticing that the leader wants to keep up quite close to the pace car. We'll go and join him. Going to wait until it calls get ready, then we'll go back to fuel map 1, which it has now. Fuel map 1, if you restart in map 8, it's a bad time.
Long race. Good luck, everyone.
Now I'm trying to keep, on the very left-hand side of my screen, I'm trying to keep the leader's wheel just in my vision, so that I can see when he goes. The instant the pace car turns off, he can accelerate and start the race. I'm looking to drop in behind him, take the best line possible through T1. He's waited till green and got a terrible start. And caused havoc behind him.
Already?
The next car's the leader.
Yep, there's been an accident of some sort behind us. I would love to know where the leader is. Yep, he's alongside me. Knock it back into fuel map 8 to save fuel. We'll go around and find the pace car.
15, you gotta go by me.
Sadly, that is often what happens when, as the leader did there, you wait until the green flag flies before accelerating. It's a choice you can make, but it's one that's highly likely to cause havoc behind you, and clearly something went wrong down the field. So we'll try again. We'll have about 3 laps of pacing. Set it in.
Catch about 10 car.
Still haven't caught the pace car yet. Ah.
Keep the pace car come out.
Pace car is just going in. Pace car's just going into 3 now. Pace car is going into 3 and 4.
Yeah, P1, what are you doing?
I think that's a question we were all asking on the start, unfortunately.
Well, if all cars don't cross the start-finish line, you gotta wait for the pace cars. They went all the way around.
The pit road is now open.
Are we going to get a wave around on a lap 1 yellow flag?
Pace car is now in 1.
Yes, we are.
Number 10, sir, I'm being told to stay behind the 25. I'm not following you.
Massive wave around coming.
Catch about 25 car. Catch about 10 car. Catch about 10 car.
So what's happened? It's highly unusual on the first,
About 10
on a caution that comes on the first lap. What's about to happen is that when we get 1 to green, all the cars in front of the leader will be waved around and put to the back of the field so that they're not in the leader's way. Come on, go in the pit. Leave us alone. No such luck.
Catch about 10
Well,
car.
that was a rather more chaotic caution than usual.
1 to go. Next time by.
Alright, wave around beginning.
Someone's dropped into the pit via the wrong entrance. P8 and P9, watch out for the cars coming around behind you.
27.019. Catch about 10 car.
Wave around's barely going to be finished by the time we start. This is absolutely ridiculous. Right, everyone finally is out of the way.
Get
Pace
ready,
cars in
join
3,
the race.
guys. Chill out. Nobody run over each other back there.
Well, it's good for our chances of winning, but good for literally nothing else. There may well be chaos again, and we may end up with another caution, but
Let's try this again.
we've just got to restart. Single file up against the wall so no one can overtake around the outside. Cars are only allowed to overtake on the inside. If he comes down there, I might have a go at jumping him. No, he's off. Thank God.
Green, green, green.
Single file. Off we go. Down to the bottom. Hold it to the inside. Up through the gears. Looking out for any run behind me. Looks like there is one. No, you can go to the outside, mate. You can go to the outside. Lifting off because I see the leader dropping down in front of me to steal my clean air. He's also stolen P3s there. Gonna have to come to the inside and deal with it now. He's staying high. Might have to risk going in full speed at the next one, because there's going to be an overspeed around the outside. I'll squeeze him as much as I dare. Down to the inside. Yep, there comes P1. P3 on the first seam. We'll show him all the way to the outside. He can't switch us back. Now, let's see where he goes. Yep, leader cut down to Korea. P3's hung it round the outside. No, you can go the long way. Both really struggling to get it going. Leader's playing it really well. He's driving in front of us. The dirty air in this car is very, very powerful. It really takes away your grip. Looks like we're in a fight with P2 for the next little while, but with 70 iRating gained in this position, I don't mind what's happening here at all. To be honest, I might let him have the inside. You know what? I think I want to rip the top. See, here's the trouble. I've ripped the top. And using my overspeed. Yep, and he's going to do exactly the same thing. I'm happy to play leapfrog if he is. Now I'm not. I think I'm far enough ahead, and I'm wrong. But the dirty air won't matter, and it did. He's to the inside now. Looking ahead, make sure the leader isn't going to run high. He's not. No overlap, we'll go side by side. Not sure this is what we want to be doing on lap 12. Now if we can build a healthy gap behind, I'm not sure this is the way to do it, but if we can build a gap behind, I'm not opposed to dropping into fuel map 3 and trying something a bit less hazardous. I think we got a much better run there. We've cleared him. I'm going to the inside, 1.6 seconds the gap. Now then, I don't have to worry about the leader's dirty air. I can take the inside, which is the strongest line. Absolutely the preferred line if there's a choice. And you see behind me, Kyle, number 5, running the first seam, just slightly higher again. It's all about getting his nose out of the dirty air. Unfortunately, now that I'm back in clean air, I can see that I'm a couple of tenths faster. I'm going to catch him up again. It's all going to work to the advantage of P3. But I'm going to move forward in the hope that I'll leave P3 behind. There we go, I can go easily full throttle through turn 1. Now I'm not coping with the dirty air. Good position to be in as well. Leader will see me coming back to him. Yellow warning on the overlay as we take a slight lift up to within 1.1 seconds, so we will start to feel the impact of that dirty air. But he stays on the first seam, interestingly. He's not coming all the way to the inside. Maybe he likes the first seam better. That would explain why we've got 3 tenths on him. Just taking that comfort lift. That will significantly help our tyre wear going down the stretch. Into 6th gear as we've got enough draft to justify it. And turns 3 and 4 as the leader's already starting to get out of shape. I wonder if he's running a bit too much weight jacker, roasting up his rear tyres. He's mega slow. Going Gonna try and have him as soon as possible. Rip the top. Yeah, he's seen what we're doing, but he can't cover me. Here's a run. Not going to be enough to dive to his inside. Ooh, am I? Carry the speed. Don't hit the wall. He's hit the wall, I think. To the inside. Pin it. Don't go too early. Don't go too early. He'll try to come back. But I'm just going to sit here. I don't need to defend. I can take my favoured line. We're in P1. Down to the inside. And that, almost without thinking, this is the first time I've had a chance to take a breath, is lap 20 of 75. Bit too much of a lift there than I would have liked, but that's okay. Going to keep it below the scene, deny him the draft. He comes over and now we're to the outside. Best angle for the corner. Get as far to the inside as I dare. Every bit of tarmac I use on that inside is 100th of a second, and we're flying away from him now at 3/10 with him stuck in my wash. Build the gap. Coming up to the start of the fuel window. This is something I haven't had a chance to talk about with all that wheel-to-wheel dicing. Take a bit of a lift, help myself get to the inside, put a little less strain on the front tyre. Misjudged getting on the power a bit, had to come out of it to stay out of the wall. But if he's going to be running 26.3s, then that is something we can easily afford to do. Is stretching out very nicely. The more the field stretches out, the less chance there is of a caution interfering with our strategy. And given our speed differences, here is our strategy. Going to build that gap out to 1.7, 1.8 seconds, fuel map 3, and we're going to go as long as possible before we pit. If this guy tries to undercut us and come in earlier, take advantage of fresh tyres, I'm not too worried by that. I think it's more likely, given the strength of the field, that there'll be a caution. Someone just can't handle driving on really tough tyres. Ooh, hello, plot's thickening now. P2's so slow that he's about to be overtaken, and I think P3, the former P3, number 5, has made it stick. Changes the calculus a bit as I look up at his lap times. They're broadly comparable. I may just have to keep pushing and see if we can pull away from him. Lap 24, definitely starting to feel a bit of a fall off on the tyres now. Just not quite as willing to turn. Lift a bit going into 1 and 2. Lift a lot more going into 3 and 4. Don't get impatient. That's a good sign. I'm still capable of a 26 flat or slightly less. Let's see what Carl can do with a full lap in clean air. Gap to 1.5 seconds. Quick look at my fuel use. Happy with that. More about that once we're through 3 and 4. Listening every single turn to the tyres. Listening for some sign that we're going into the next stage of degradation, and I'll have to lift off even more than I am doing at the moment. But right now they feel fine. I feel like I can just take that little extra lift if I want to. Carl's lap time's gone with me. He's not going to let me have an inch, I don't think. Track temps still... Didn't even get a chance to talk about that pre-race with all the nonsense going on and all the fighting. This is about in the middle of the track temps we've been getting for this combo. So I'm expecting quite a bit of tyre wear, but not enough to make it unmanageable to run the tank dry. We're not going to look to come in much before lap 50, if at all. Unless, of course, there's a caution. If there's a caution and it makes sense to pit, you pretty much have to pit, otherwise everyone else is going to. You get stuck on very, very warm tyres, and we will just be a sitting duck. We can see now 30 lap old tyres, and my lap times have dropped about 4-5 tenths under my fastest lap. That is more than enough to overcome the dirty air as I feel my rear tyres starting to protest a bit as I accelerate out. Take the weight jacker out, that will just tip the balance of the car slightly more onto the front tyres. It will wear the fronts more, but it will help combat that tendency to slide at the rear. It's a very common mistake as we come through 3 and 4 again. Going to be a little bit easier on the throttle, feed it in a bit more gently to combat that urge for it to loop itself. Looking at the gap again, Kyle is staying with us. This is going to be a tough fight. Even though we're not wheel to wheel, I can tell he's not going to give me an inch. We're really closely matched. I may have to consider, if he comes in early and goes for the undercut, I may have to join him, and then we'll both be at risk of being screwed over by a caution. Explain why when we get there. Lap 31. This is so much fun. To the inside again, managing that throttle, putting as little energy into the tyres as possible, and up ahead of us I see lap traffic approaching. Great. Another thing to worry about. They'll steal our dirty air just as badly as when we were chasing the leader down. They'll steal our clean air. However, looking at their lap times, should be able to make it if I have to hang one out round the outside. And he's in, he's going for the undercut. That's very, very early. That's very early indeed to go for the undercut. I am not responding to that unless he's got a problem, which is possible if he's... That's why we have those overlays, so I can tell. So where's he coming back out? Quite close to us it'll be. We'll definitely put a lap on him. So if you're watching this back later, keep an eye on Carl Spees, number 5, now down in P19. You see the number 19 on the track map will show you where he currently is. He'll be behind me somewhere. It's a full lap down. Now what that means is that if there is a caution now as we get cut in front of, that's fine. No blue flags in this series. He doesn't have to move. 0.9 the gap. He's running the middle. Okay. Gonna risk the bottom. What are you doing? No, I'm not going to risk the bottom if you're there, sir. Yeah, because indeed he does drop to the bottom, so a good decision to rep the top. Now we can see we're coming up on him real hard. Make a decision, sir. Do something. Hopefully he'll go low again and we can go around his outside. Took a long time to get there, had to lift out. Hi again, sir. Just telling him what I plan to do. Thank you. And now the next lap car, who is also dropping to the bottom. These factors all affecting things. I want to find... I've lost the guy I'm racing and I really want to know what his lap times are at the moment. Number 5, where are you? Where are you? Don't worry about that too much. Down in 22nd, 25 sevens. I'm okay with that. If he was putting in 0.6s or 0.5s, I might think about coming in early. Rip past, get round the turn and then say thank you. Thank you, sir. So, 11 laps of fuel left. We passed the pit exit, which is where I like to measure my fuel from. I passed the pit entry, rather, because that's where my fuel has to get me to. It doesn't matter so much what it is at the start-finish line. Come round again. Just a slight lift Now we're back in clean air. 2.7 seconds to the next bit of traffic. Yellow light. Is that someone pitting? Is that someone spinning? Are we about to get a caution? Don't know. Worry about the turn. Lot of slide there. Yep, just someone pitting. Unfortunately, all the yellow marker detects is that someone's going slowly. Just at the moment, it can't tell why. This is all a program called iOverlay. Very good, very useful. Giving me all the information I need to make decisions. 1.7 seconds to the car in front. I'm about to come into his dirty air. For the other consideration, if we hit a big bunch of traffic that's fighting for position, I would strongly consider taking the pit lane and just avoiding getting caught up in any of their nonsense, but none of that to worry about so far. And Carl Spies is down 5 laps down. He's out of it, and there's the yellow flag. Someone's crashed, someone else is unhappy.
You're a lap down.
Ooh.
Lap cars, if you could snug up to the leader, that would be great. 22,
Yep.
14.
He's missing a wheel. Okay, I have let the 16 by. I'm going to pit now. He's just going to try and limp it in with a wheel in his wagon. Got to stay behind the pace car.
Don't pass anybody on pit road.
Sorry, I'm...
Oh my goodness, Chris.
What was that?
That was a mess. That was a mess, George. Right, quick check of the thing. 36 litres. I'll take a bit less. I'll explain why in a moment. I've got a...
I had to let that car that was in front of me go by me. It happened like
Nice.
50 meters before the pit entry, so I was trying to screw that.
That isn't too conservative, but I think there's been nonsense behind. Yep. You could afford a nice conservative stop in the box. And we're back out of the pits. Someone's stayed out. I hope he's going to pit next lap, or he's going to make himself very unpopular.
A corner.
Recheck the tyres in case we do need to stop again later, and we've got past the 26. Who is right there?
Some good racing so far, though.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, lap traffic now dropping behind.
Well, when you came swinging down there, oh my god, I shit myself. I didn't see you. It says that your car was sideways in front of me.
We'll take engine map 8 for a
56
lap, but I
right
just want to
front
be
and 77
absolutely
rear in
certain.
traffic. Ugh.
65, 85 for me.
Yeah, I was battling pretty hard.
Yeah, this combo is a lot of fun in clean air and absolutely disgusting in dirty air.
Practicing for Indy. It's a few weeks from now.
Hell yeah.
It'll be my first time trying it, because by the time I started iRacing, it was gone, then they brought it back.
Oh, I only joined the service a couple of months ago. I'm amazed that I'm doing as well as I am.
Good racing, Dominique Quillen, 18, and 10, Ricardo. Good racing.
So, good sign behind.
You getting an illegal pit?
Got to use the access road, guys.
No, he did use the access road, but he came onto it hella late.
You can drop down quite late if you're playing fuck games under a caution.
I told you what happened. I had to let that car go by before I could enter pit road or whatever.
I know, but what I'm saying is, did you still get a pit late? Because I was just wondering whether you have to go under the yellow line or whether you can go over the yellow line.
Could somebody explain the weight jacker to me real quick? And be at 0 clicks, or where should it be?
Right, up means that you're looser and you get more rear tyre wear and less front, so it's quite good to use some in dirty air, but if you just whack it up to 20, you'll get ridiculously loose and lose it.
So a couple of clicks up, you think?
Dirty air I will run anywhere between 5 and 10, depending on how the car feels.
Yeah, definitely. Raise it up. Even at the start here, I'm at +4, because I'll be in a little bit of traffic. I'll have one car in front of me. The ARB is a whole different deal. We don't have time to go through.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna do weight tracker, one thing at a time.
So, back
If
to
I
map
want
1.
clean air, I want it lower than
And
0,
unfortunately, I'm
right?
going to have to talk over them. I want to drop back from the pace car a bit. I'm a little bit close.
No, you'll still want a little bit. Find
You
me on
start in
track,
first
we'll go
gear,
through.
that helps. Now.
Alright, we'll do. Thanks.
Catch the pace car.
Good man. Right, pace car's going to pull off. The instant it turns
Well,
away,
I've just been having it on 0. I need to know what it actually does.
instant it turns out, I am off. There it is, I'm off.
Car is off.
I've made enough of a gap that I can go past it after it enters the pit lane. 0.5 of a second gap, exactly what I want to see.
8, 4, 7.
Superlative. I think I've got a 10th on him on fresh tyres, and that is all I'm going to need to drive away, I hope. Just a little lift on fresh tyres. Easy to forget to do.
Jesus, 9. You cut me off there.
Have we got another caution coming? Keep driving in the meantime. 0.7 of a second the gap. There's lots of yellow symbols, but it doesn't look like there are possible slow cars in 3 and 4. Give myself a bit extra reaction time, and they've all gone in the pit lane. That's fine. Around we go. 50 laps down, 75 to go. More than enough time for the tyres to go through a couple of scrubbing phases, but they sound a lot happier on light fuel and fresh rubber. We are very definitely in the pound seat. The only thing that can intervene now would be a caution on about lap 60-65, and that would make a difficult decision. If everyone behind me were to pit, I could be in some trouble, because you'd be getting into the point where fresh tyres would make it possible for them to just drive past me. However, if I pit and no one else does, I've put myself to the back of the field for no reason. If it gets to that, what I think I'll do is I'll take up position behind the pace car as wide as possible. So watch out for this guy coming out the pits as we give it full chat. So easy to hold it to the bottom with that little bit of weight jacker. Yep, we are burying him by at least a 10th a lap. This is looking very, very good. Tough decision whether to take down to 4th or hold it in 5th, and there's a caution.
Caution, yellow flag.
I have let the pace car by, checking up.
It's closed right now. Let the pace car by.
I did bail out that overtake 12. Like a car sliding them backwards at the track.
I need to check up more than this.
Pit road is now open.
Good racing there, 12.
And we'll drop back into the lead. No need to use engine map 8 now, because we've got plenty of fuel to get to the end. You can see that down at the bottom right, excuse me, my fuel calculator has now all gone green.
It's almost really bad.
Now, some people will explicitly try and use as much fuel as possible. I generally don't bother. I don't think that the amount of fuel you burn off makes you appreciably faster. I don't expect that anyone will pit now.
Right, Johnson, is
A
it?
tire-
ARB. Front ARB. When you have it at 6, which is currently what the setting is, it has maximum resistance to roll to the right. It keeps the front wing, essentially, pinned to the ground evenly across the front of the car as well. So it has two effects. This car's a huge aero car versus like a stock car. So when you have all that fuel on board, you have all that weight, and you have good tires, 6 is always good to run. The rear even if sometimes it's unhooked, so you got to be kind of careful, even playing with it. 6, when you stiffen the rear, it can push more weight to the left front corner. It makes the weight jacker more effective if you stiffen the right rear. But the problem with stiffening it is on a high-speed track, it keeps the rear wing up in the air. Does that make sense? It keeps it up higher. Therefore, you have more drag on the car. So it's a catch-22. I don't play with it very much. The front, when I have less fuel, like now, because we're only at, 9 gallons left? When I have less fuel, I can drop the weight jacker resistance to like 5 or 4. What that'll do is it'll plant the right front more, give it more mechanical grip rather than air grip. I don't play with it too much. But at Indy, coming up in a couple of weeks, it's huge to play with your front ARB. So that's that in a nutshell. These are really fun cars. You have those 2 adjustments. You have weight jacker and ARB adjustments, and brake bias, of course. And it makes this car a lot of fun to run.
Awesome, thanks. So like the rear ARB, that's just like you said, it's more drag, so it's harder in the turns, basically. So you're basically giving up top speed for corner speed.
Yeah, don't play with it too much. It's more for really short tracks. Like if you were at Iowa or Milwaukee or Gateway, it's fun to play with it there. Here, I'd leave it at 1. Leave it nice and stiff. Get that, or leave it nice and soft. Get that thing out of the air.
10-4, so I'm running the front ARB. I have at 5 right now. Weight jacker at 4 clips.
Yeah, you're good. You're fine. That's about where I'm at. I don't want to give up too much. I screwed up coming out of 4 one time and let Maddie Pace gap me big time, but I don't want to give up too much. It's just so hard to pass in dirty air. And there's a lot of drivers in this series that run it a lot. Like this is all I run, right? I probably run 400 races a year. There's a bunch of guys who block. And they don't block by moving their car around. They block by taking the air off your car. You go into a corner and they'll take your air off and you'll have a huge understeer. They'll push. So you just got to watch it. It's more a dramatic effect on these than it is a stock car because they're lighter and they're so aero dependent.
Awesome. I don't expect you to give up too much. I just wanted to understand what all this means. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
I feel like it's a balance between, like, you don't want to give the keys to the kingdom, but you do want to give people stuff that will make them less likely to crash and more competitive.
Yeah, it's a good analogy, Manny. Qualifying's a whole different deal. The guys who qualify really well, they're using witchcraft, I think. There's computer programs that'll change your ARB and your
right
and your weight jacker as you drive, and you don't have to do anything. And
I
they
don't
choose it. All
think.
right, have fun. Let's go.
Right. Now, has Todd seen how I
Yeah, I'm
restart?
going to work on my qualifying lap.
I'm not going to be too clever. I'm just going to do the same thing. If I was certain that he'd seen me before, I'd delay the accelerator a second and
Let's have fun.
reduce the chance of him predicting it. But here we go. First gear, map 1, go, go, go. Yep, got a tenth or two out of that. Drive it down the hill. It's coming with me. Gotta get this right. Yes, hold it low. Now back to the outside. Just deny him that bit of draft. This is going to be a tight finish if we go green. But I've got the advantage, as he was saying. Now he's trying to hold it onto the first seam and drive down the hill, coming into the air that I'm vacating for maximum speed. It's funny, I kind of want to commentate on what he's doing for you guys, but I also really have to concentrate on what I'm doing. Take the draft away. Give it back, up here. Not swerving all over the place, but just hoping to annoy him a little. Good turn. Back to 0.6 of a second behind. 25.388. I am very, very happy with that as a race pace. Very, very happy not to be dropping under 330 kilometers an hour on worn tyres through 3 and 4. Can't do that indefinitely. But Todd, unfortunately, he hasn't got an answer. If he wants to match my lap time, he has to come to the inside. I'm not going to let him. And that line to the outside is just a tenth or two slower in the long run. Denying him that draft, denying him every possible mile and kilometre an hour I can. Ooh. Bit eager to get to the inside. Take the weight checker out. Cost me a bit of front right. That's a risk I'm willing to take. That felt a lot better. Good pedal. It's much more in the pedal than it is in the tools, I find, managing the tyres, particularly in dirty air. Pulled out a nice second of gap. He's going to push me all the way. Taking a break from the old commentary. We'll get back to it. Just about minded to start lifting now through 1 and 2. Still got a tenth to play with over Todd's pace. Just take it a little bit easier. Yep, let it drop to 3.25 or a little over. Coming through 3 and 4. Happy with that. A little lift to keep the car to the inside as long as possible. Give back maybe 5/100ths of a second. Those are the kind of margins you have to think on an oval. Remember, 100th of a second, roughly equivalent to a 10th of a second for a road course driver. A full 10th of a second, roughly equivalent to a full second. Ooh, complaining. Are we going to get another caution in a shootout? We are not. Me and Todd have left the field behind.
Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away. Where he was racing.
He just drove it through me, that. Just a fucking idiot getting ready to it and getting it damaged.
Yep, that feels a little loose now, trying to hold that. That's why we need the lift, just to keep the car settled. Always better to lift on the way in than halfway through. Todd's just hanging on to our back. That lift was much too early. Or the line was wrong.
Woo! Hit the apron. Spooky!
Yeah, it's probably a sign that your tyres are going off and you're struggling on fuel. I'd put it in map 3 just to make sure.
You like that? Try map 8. Really cool.
Sorry, no, that makes stretched out. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I have catch the 14. I have catch the 14. I'm going around. Are we going to get a shoot?
Thinking about where you're going to pick up the throttle at, Matty?
Pace car's in the middle of 2.
We're in a podium position.
We'll probably have what? 2 laps? 2 laps?
Yeah, I've got 5 remaining and it should be 3 or 4 pace laps.
You'll hear some of us burning fuel off by pushing the clutch in to get the car lighter.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Catch the pace car.
I know that much about it. I just didn't know the little intricacies.
Gotta be careful. You can actually overheat your engine and blow it up. It'll hit the chip, and it won't blow it up from over rev, but it'll heat it up. So you gotta watch your temp.
I'm just going to pace in the lowest lane here. Do your thing up high if you need to. By the way, Todd, I am doing the YouTube thing and I'm actually screen recording this. I was going to upload it. Do you mind if I keep your explanation of what ARB and weight and all that does? Because A, it was really good and there's a real lack of information for people out there.
Oh, heck, no, I wouldn't mind. There's a lot of it on there. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he was really good at these for a long time, and he produced a, gosh, I don't know, a blog, if you would, of these, and that's where I picked it up, I guess. No, I don't mind.
Cool, that will be just my name if anyone's interested to see what it looked like from up here. It'll go up in a couple of days.
Nice.
Yeah, I usually cut them up and do highlights, but this one I've literally been narrating everything I've been thinking all the way through.
You newer guys, another thing, when we go to like the 1.5 miles and stuff, you'll see that the leader's almost impossible to pass. And they get it on the bottom and they don't come off the bottom. You get big runs, huge runs, and then you can't pass them. So it's really about strategy and pit, but it's a simulation. It's not a video game, so that's the way it is in real life as well.
Yeah,
I was watching a video at Indianapolis, and basically that inside lane is so dominant. Sorry, another phrase. The outside lane in a corner is more dominant than the inside. Like if you keep down the inside, it's hard to do anything with it. But you do save tires that way.
Sure do. And if you go to places like California or Michigan or, Charlotte, Texas, they run the bottom. You can't beat them. If they have any kind of experience, you can't beat them.
I did pretty well at a auto club when I was here a couple weeks ago. Probably 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the thing with that combo for me is that it was like you couldn't just sit in lane 1 for an entire tyre stint. Otherwise, you'd die at about 25 laps. So for me, it then became about sit in the back, pick the moment, and then run to the front and sit on the inside, flipping everyone off. But you couldn't do it all the way, or you'd just die.
Yeah, agreed. Crashes and stuff. People getting froggy, 3 wide in the center on old tires.
We're going to have a 1-lap shootout here?
1 to go.
Yes, sir.
Time by 22.789. Catch the pace.
That's why I was giving the leader crap about when he's going to pick the throttle up. He's picking up right at the top of 4 each time, and I think he'll mix it up this time. The leader can go whenever he chooses, as long as he doesn't pass the pace car.
You know, funnily enough, I was just mulling over in my mind. Now, has he noticed? Do I change up when I usually go? What am I going to do here? Do you dare me to wait until green? No, we all saw what happened when the leader did that off the start. I won't do that to you.
Don't do that.
It's a choice, but it does just lead to havoc. Right, so what my marker is now going to be is when the pace car comes in, I will get a transmission, and when the transmission ends, then I'm going to go.
You got to have your gaps nice and close. Sporting code. So guys dropping back like 3rd place is way back. He's coming now, but sporting code.
Yeah, 6th place is way behind me.
Real nice work. This is the white flag lap. The pace car is off. Be ready.
I went in just a little before you, and I had to let up.
20.852.
Big run coming. Where am I going to go?
I'd have ripped the top, man.
Oh, you can't go anywhere. Good race. Good job, man.
Good race, everyone. A lot of fun.
You won. Awesome job.
Good shot, Matty.
18, you can't lay back like that, dude.
Great job, Matty.
Even though it didn't work.
I'll do a few donuts. Why not?
Hey, Todd, thanks for the explanation. I feel like I know way more now than what I did before.
Yeah, this is the best group of guys on iRacing right here. This and the Silver Crown guys, the sprint car guys. They're fun. The pavement sprinters.
Okay, the race is over.
I can never figure those cars out either.
That's a true story. I see Todd doing all the
Yeah, speaking of which, Pat, go jump in the Silver Crown car.
Your rear wing is damaged.
Yeah. Well, hope you enjoyed it. Wow, 1,000 iRating in a week. It's been a really good combo for me. The one thing I want to leave on is I'm under no illusions. Just because I'm 2.7k iRating here, that doesn't mean we're going to be 2.7k iRating when we get to Pocono, which is next week's combo. Really looking forward to that. One of the iconic IndyCar tracks. See you there.